Hello everybody, and welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons! I have a new cable for my microphone. I don't know if I sound any different. In my own little testing I didn't sound any different to myself, but given that other cable had burn marks, I decided to finally actually change it. Especially after asking other people, hey, is this actually burn marks or am I crazy? Yeah, those were actually burn marks. Peanut, glad to see you. One chat. About midway through, All's Fair in Love and Fishing. Such a great book. Very fair. Got Diva and Simon right up here. Simon's looking at a tree. Now he's digging into you. How's things? Let's talk. He's so sleepy when it's dark out. Alright, who's umming? Pinky's umming. What are you umming about? Oh my gosh, Superstar! Sorry, I need your advice. I've been thinking about how I say blah just all the time. And, you know, I wanna, I don't know, change it, maybe. What do you think? Yeah, let's freshen it up. Okay then, let's change it. Alright. So she's been doing blah. I want, you know... Yeah, she's getting boop. Her catchphrase is gonna be boop. Yeah, she'll be saying boop. Yep. Yeah, I do. Boop, boop. That's so cute. This is the best. So good at coming up with this stuff, Superstar. Aww. Diva! Zoops! Feeling psyched, queen. Chat with me. Sometimes I get a craving for pesto pizza. Nothing else will do. I don't want to try doing that at some point. Like making pizza dough, but like putting pesto in the dough. That sounds like it could actually be kind of nice. I liked the pesto breadsticks I made that not that long ago, so you know, maybe. But yeah, like I had sent it to some people, and they're like, one of them was like, "Ooh, anytime you're using that, I'd be like, keeping an eye out for like." And keeping track of it, you're smelling burning or something. It's like, yeah, my microphone is never not plugged in. So it's never not being used. This thing is always plugged in. That might be where the burn marks came from, is that this is always plugged in. It's just simply because I don't want to forget to plug it in, you know? I wouldn't want to sit here and record a whole episode with the mic unplugged. You know. Maybe I'm the weird one there, but I don't think that would be a very productive thing to do. I'd rather make sure that my mic is always plugged in. This cable is also a lot sturdier than the other one. Like, it is firmly plugged in. It's also apparently for high-speed data transfer. Come on in, Steven. My home's your home, Airmail. Let's talk. I wish I'd done a better job cleaning before having anyone over like this, Airmail. Please don't look too closely at anything, or tell anyone if you find dust under my furniture. I won't, and I won't. You're good. Eat your sandwich, or are you gonna share it with the ant? Here's where I kinda need to share it with the ant. Or are you just taunting the ant? I think she's just taunting the ant. She's just like, I have a sandwich. What do you have? And it's like, I have a glass. I have a glass prison. But, yeah, I haven't really done a huge amount today other than, like, swap out the microphone cable. Though, I did also just watch a video that reminded me that a lot of people, specifically Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, don't understand randomness. Because, like, if you take a deck and you riffle shuffle it 7 times, that is, by literal casino logic, that is sufficiently randomized. That is what casinos do. If you take it a step further and do it 10 times, it's even more randomized. Mathematically, every single card in that deck has moved after 7 shuffles. 10 just moves it even more. Assuming you aren't, like, faking your shuffles, which is always possible. People do that. It's called cheating, but people do it, you know. And I mention this because the YouTuber Distant Coder, who is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Judge, basically made a post saying, I hate when people pile shuffle, just stop it, basically. I have to pick an outfit this time of year since the temperature is so different from morning to afternoon. The big advantage is just throwing on an apron 365 days a year. That is fair. And there was so many people being like, no, pile shuffling's for declumping. It's like, so you're not shuffling your deck then. You're just stacking it. Of which, given you're making stacks of cards, I feel we should really rename that style of shuffling piling, because it's not shuffling. You aren't randomizing the deck. You're simply placing the cards in an order. Like, that's not random. I wonder if this could possibly be snakes. Well, we can ask Gala, she's right here. Butterbean, how are you, Snorty? Did you drop something? Oh, can you show me? Yeah, it's this book. Looks like a diary. My lost journal, you found it. Okay, it was hers. Thank you for returning this. I have something for you. Oh, we get a shirt. Really feel like you earned an open track jacket. Yeah, alright, I can wear it. I've been wearing this shirt for a while. Yeah, sure, I'm a gym teacher now. Why not? Like, people who are arguing you need to pile shuffle to randomize your deck are basically saying, I need to pile shuffle because either A, I'm bad at shuffling, or 2, I'm stacking my deck and I'm hoping you won't notice. Thanks for talking sense into me, Colonel. I've decided to move. Did you know I named all the sweat stains on the carpet, Colonel? I'm really gonna miss them, especially Marcus. Guess I'll be sweating up a new place soon. See ya, Colonel. See ya, Snake. You take care, my man. You'll find Metal Gear one of these days. I believe in you. But, like... And, you know... I want to echo something, even though I don't really play paper card games, but in the chance I do get back into playing paper card games, if a local game store actually opens near me, I want my stance on this known. If you are my opponent, and you have a legitimate disability that prevents you from riffle shuffling, I will gladly shuffle your deck for you. Just to save us both time. Like, I'm glad you're here playing. Here, let me help you out. You know. Sup, Steven? Need me for something? What you doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Check it out. I'm making a bird cage. DIY stuff takes some major elbow grease, so let's go all in on it. So worth the effort, though. Oh, already crammed your brain with birdcage making know-how? Yeah. Alright, I should've known. You're always on top of stuff. Well, I already wrote up a recipe for a birdcage. Here, take it anyway. Give it to a friend or something, Nightshade. I'll give it to the Nooklings. Their friend. Wouldn't it rock if we all made a birdcage DIY style? Yes it would. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Get a bunch of bird cages. I don't know how Blathers would feel about it, though. We're kind of trapping his brethren in cages. For our own amusement. You ever wonder how some items in this game is actually perceived by the animals? Like, Flurry and her hamster cage. She is a hamster. With a tiny hamster running on a wheel in her home. Like, is that just like a cousin or something? Should I have known their name? And there's the frogs you can fish up. Like, there's a lot to question. Maple! An unexpected treat to have you drop by like this, honey. Let's chat. Let me ask you this. What kind of book would you want to have on a deserted island? Honestly, a love story. Oh, is there anything better than an epic love story that transcends all space and time? Just imagine two castaways wash up on shore of a deserted island. They've never met, but now they must keep each other alive. Together they fight wild beasts, brave storm after storm, and face their own personal demons. And against all odds, they fall madly in love. The book hasn't even been written yet, and it's already changing my life, honey. Aw, that does actually sound really cute. That could be a game. Like, it doesn't even have to be a book. That could be a game. Neat. But, like, pile shuffling takes forever. And if you don't know what I mean by pile shuffling, so you take a deck of cards, any cards at all, and then you set them all out, like you deal them out from the top into like 3 or 6 piles, or more, however many piles you want. Hence, pile shuffling. But the thing is, you're dealing these cards out from the top of your deck. Which basically means, if you knew what order the cards were in, you still know what order the cards are in. And it does mean that, you know, given the usual thing that people will do between games of, say, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just a deck split after a shuffle's been done. So if you pile shuffle, you put the cards that you definitely want to see around the middle of your deck by intentionally putting them there, because that's what pile shuffling does. Your opponent then cuts your deck to roughly the middle, because that's what people tend to do. And now you're basically guaranteed to open with the cards you wanted. You have stacked your deck. Congratulations, you have cheated. Which is also where, if I ever had an opponent that did pile shuffle, I'm gonna riffle shuffle their deck a couple times. You know, I'm not just gonna let them get away with stacking their deck. I'm going to riffle it a couple times, then cut it. You know. And this whole thing of like, oh, well, it prevents clumping or does whatever with clump. You can't stop cards from potentially ending up next to each other. There literally is no way to randomly shuffle a deck where cards will not end up next to each other. There just isn't a way to do it. It's mathematically... Well, it's not impossible. It's mathematically improbable that you could, properly shuffling a deck, randomly shuffling it, end up with no identical cards next to each other. Like, do these people that think that not, like, do they think anytime someone playing poker gets a pair, the deck wasn't randomized enough? Like, what? What about a straight? That required 5 cards in sequence to be near each other. That seems pretty improbable to me, don't you think? Except it's not. It's random. I'm reminded of, I believe it was Apple, that developed a properly random shuffler for their music player that they then had to scrap because people were convinced it wasn't actually random, because they would occasionally hear, you know, 2 songs close to each other. Like, yeah, that's how random works. It's random. Random means there is an equal chance of literally anything else being next. That is random. Caroline dancing, that was random. She might not have been doing that. But if I open the game tomorrow and she's dancing again, that doesn't mean she's just always dancing. That means she randomly decided to dance again. Well, she's not dancing, she's exercising, but you know what I mean. You know, there is no way to randomly shuffle something and have it end up with nothing in a, you know, nothing together. And like, the whole thing of like, well, pile shuffling prevents clumping if you make sure to put all the cards apart, except it doesn't. Because you could go, and it's something that Distant Coder didn't actually show, but in a way he actually did show, was you can have cards apart from each other. Like, one here, you know, one here kind of thing in your deck. Ignore how my fingers shake. And then you shuffle the deck and they end up right next to each other. You could do that. Because that's random chance. Like, there's people like, why are you getting so worked up over this? It's like, well, one, the new time rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are asinine. And I don't think I've actually talked about them yet. But even y'all who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Could tell how dumb these rules are. But before that, like, it's just simply slow. You're wasting, like, all of us have a finite amount of time on this planet. Why would you want to waste part of that time doing a shuffle that isn't a shuffle just because it makes you feel good? If it even does that. Because, man, if you think pile shuffling can, you know, fixes randomness, and then you riffle shuffle the 7 times you should be riffle shuffling, and then you cut the deck, and, you know, all this stuff, and then you still draw 2 of the same card, that's gotta feel bad, man. It's just gotta. Because you just went through all this effort, all this trouble to avoid that, and then it happens. It's almost as if that doesn't do anything to prevent it. Shock of all shocks, I know. But, like, you're not only wasting your time, you're wasting your opponent's time. Which, quite honestly, in my opinion, is the bigger problem. Like, if you want to waste your own time on your own, not bothering anybody else, that's your prerogative. I do it all the time when I'm playing video games. The difference there is I'm actually enjoying playing video games, and I highly doubt people who are piling their cards are enjoying the process. Unless they just get a good amount of joy out of just the sound of cards being dealt from a deck. In which case, they could just deal cards from a deck. But like, once you start piling, while you're playing against an opponent, now you're wasting their time too. Again, all of us only have a finite amount of time. So, yeah, I'm going to be annoyed if an opponent is pile shuffling against me on the clock. Especially with Yu-Gi-Oh's new time rules, which I will now explain. So, it used to be the time rules everybody hated, thought they hated. Now they're going, actually, could we have those back, please? The rules everyone thought they hated was when time in the round ends, It was a 45-minute round. When time in the round is called, everyone still playing finishes the current phase they're in. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is split between multiple phases per turn. Your turn starts with a draw phase, goes to standby phase, main phase 1, battle phase, main phase 2, end phase. That is the structure of a turn in Yu-Gi-Oh! So no matter what phase you're in, when time in the round is called, you finish the phase. Then whoever has the highest life points total wins. Simple. Simple, easy to understand, cheesable, but that's beside the point. Now, we have 50-minute rounds. Sounds good so far. When time in the round is called, if no winner has been declared in the match, both players lose, regardless of what phase they're in, regardless of what game action was just being taken. You both lose. Good day. It doesn't matter if literally what was happening was your opponent holding priority on you attacking them directly to win the match with a card that they could in theory activate just to run the clock over. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you've already declared the attack. Time in the round was called, your attack has not actually gone in yet. You lose. Your opponent loses too, but you lose now. Which is dumb. I don't like that. Which is also why there's a lot of people who are very upset over things your opponent might do to just simply waste time. Because they could be doing that very intentionally just to make it so you both lose because they know they can't win. Now, another thing that Konami has done, which is really, really bad, is part of the end of match procedure, is you need to hand your duel slip to an official. You have 5 minutes to do so. Now you might think, okay, got 5 minutes, I'm going to take mine right away, hand it into an official. Great, you've done your part. Your opponent just lost that match, 0-2. They're pretty salty. They're pretty mad at you. So they just don't hand theirs in. What do you think happens? You handed yours in, they didn't hand theirs in. Within those 5 minutes. You both get a match loss. Now, if you're sitting there going, what? Yeah, welcome to the reaction of the entire community. Because that literally means if your opponent beat you badly and maybe, annoyed you while doing it, you now have the tools, thanks to the rules, to get them a match loss. Just simply by not handing your own ticket in. And if you just lost 0-2, you're not making it to day 2 of a big tournament anyway. So what does it matter to you? You're out. It's all on them now, and now they're probably out too. You just took them out with you. Now there is almost certainly going to be, people fighting this. And I could see Konami changing it so as long as one person handed it in, that counts. I could see them, and this is the way I would do it, basically just have it be if one person hands their slip in and the other person doesn't, it doesn't matter the results of the match anymore. Whoever handed it in gets the match win. That would be how I would do it. Because you get one player who's actually diligently paying attention and playing properly, and one who's not. Yeah, let's give the win to the person who's actually following the rules, handing their thing in on time. It makes sense. I can get behind that. The thing I don't get behind and can't get behind is both players losing because a salty player didn't hand in their match slip. Especially where the whole point of handing it in is just so the officials know what happened. And they need both players to hand it in because, well, one person could easily just lie on their slip. And if they get two different match slips for the same match, so like both players claim they won, well, now they've got to actually figure out who won. At that point, they would probably just issue both players a loss. Because that would be a whole lot easier than trying to figure out who won. You know. But it's so dumb. I hate the new rules so much. And like, I'm not even the best at like riffle shuffling. Like, I'm not good at it, but I can do it. It's definitely a lot easier to do with a sleeved deck, and I don't have card sleeves for my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so that's where a lot of my struggles come in. But, like, you know, I still say I would gladly shuffle for a disabled opponent so that they could play the game. Heck, if I'm not currently playing a game at a tournament or something, and I see someone who is disabled and is struggling to shuffle and their opponent isn't helping them, I would walk over and offer to help them. Because, quite honestly, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I love card gaming in general. I want people to be able to enjoy it regardless of their able-bodied state. You know, I want people to be able to have fun. And let's be honest, if I went to a tournament, I would probably be free pretty quickly. I don't play meta decks. What do I look like? A sweaty tryhard? No, I'm a long-haired dork. Those are almost never sweaty tryhards. The sweaty tryhards are those, like, people trying with, like, the quote-unquote cool haircuts with, like, you know, that one bit shaved and it's all, like, super short and maybe, like, it's a little spike and, like, you know, the people with that kind of haircut. Those are the sweaty tryhards. Or they're bald. One or the other. And if it's a girl, she probably still has that little shaved patch, because that just seems to be a thing with sweaty tryhard gamers. And goths. It's much better when goths do it. Because they're doing it for a fashion statement. The sweaty tryhard is doing it, I guess, because they think it's cool. Whoops. I got fishing with my eyes again. But like, and then they'll probably have like shoulder length hair, except where it's that shaved back, and then, you know, that's usually the sweaty tryhard haircut for women. But like, you know, and then also I suppose does depend on the power level of that tournament. If it was like a local game store just hosting like a game night, yeah. If I was playing like Sous Ships, I'd probably be set. Which I do kind of want to pick up a Sous Ship deck, but I also don't want to invest in paper Yu-Gi-Oh! Without somewhere to actually play it. Also, this is my can of nothing for the night. It has water in it. Sparkling water. Sparkling pop water, from what it says. It's supposed to be root beer. And, I mean, yeah, root beer was definitely bottled in the same room that this water was kept in. I can say that much. It does not taste like root beer at all. It tastes like the smell of root beer. And I call it a can of nothing, because the nutritional facts literally list nothing. Like, Calories, 0. Fat, 0. Carbohydrates, 0. Sugars, 0. Proteins, 0. Sodium, 0. Not a significant source of saturates, trans, fiber, cholesterol, potassium, calcium, or iron. This is a can of nothing. I'm pretty sure even water has something to it. Which tells me that was probably distilled water that they use. So my hair is slowly making its way along. But yeah, like... The TLDR at the end of all of this is piling your cards does not randomize them. It does the opposite. It stacks them. Like, you are objectively stacking your deck. And when I was a kid, I used to kind of do that, in a way. And it was more just a case of, I wasn't good at shuffling my deck at all. So anytime I would build a new deck, because I was a kid, and when me and my older siblings were kids, we were all basically under the assumption that the ideal ratio of cards in a deck was 20 monsters, 10 spells, 10 traps. That was the ideal ratio. You needed to always do that because there's monster spells and traps. So obviously you always want to be playing all three types of card. And, you know, so I would make my 3 piles, 1 of traps, 1 of monsters, and 1 of spells. And then I would basically take a trap, take a monster, take a spell, take a monster, take a trap, take a monster, take a spell. Like, that's just how I would take cards out of that pile. Then I would shuffle them. Now that I'm older and better at, you know, shuffling, I would just riffle it 7 times and that would accomplish the same thing. Like, it's kind of funny. And like, I am willing to cut some slack for people who are, you know, like I said, disabled. But again, if you're my opponent, I will shuffle that fricker for you. I will do it. Or a kid who just simply can't do it. Like a 40 card deck, which is what we play with in Yu-Gi-Oh! In sleeves, is a thick deck. There is a good chance that someone in the, you know, the age range to be getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Their hands are simply not big enough to shuffle the deck. And again, in that situation, I will shuffle that fricker for you. Though to be fair, I would argue that person should have a parent next to them, or older sibling, or someone, a guardian of some sort, to shuffle it for them. That should be what they do. I believe that's what happens with Pokemon tournaments. So like, you know, I'm also like 90% certain that is fine within the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Because as long as that person with you is not actively advising you on how to play your deck, you're allowed to have people sitting near you and chat with people while you play the game. And I'm pretty confident they would allow a parent or guardian to shuffle the deck for a child who simply cannot physically shuffle it on their own. That's how it worked in the first tournament I ever went to. My deck was like 160 cards because there was no deck size limit at the time. And I couldn't shuffle that fricker on my own. It was huge. So, you know, I had to have someone else shuffle it for me. I couldn't do it. I could do it in little batches, but I couldn't do the whole frickin' thing. It was like yay frickin' thick. It was a big boy deck for little me. Like, ironically, I think that was my most successful deck I ever made. But, at least back in the day. I have better decks now. But back then, that was my most successful deck. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. I do thank you all very much for watching. And hopefully I shall see you back here tomorrow for more Animal Crossing New Horizons as we go about finding a replacement for Snake. See you all then.